There we are. We are live. Good evening, power couples, and all of the other people that are watching. We just want to welcome you to our Power Couples Rock live show, where we call this popcorn conversations, where we're handling issues one pop at a time. And we just want to thank you all for being on tonight and being a part of our discussion. We love when you all put comments in there. It just enlightens us, and it also just adds a lot of energy here. So we just thank you so much. And with Power Couples Rock, we really are trying to develop a community of couples through purposeful pathways so that we can develop masterful marriages, right?
Yes. I just want to say to everyone, welcome to our audience. Welcome to our show for tonight. It's going to be very thought-provoking, and sparkles are flying and firecrackers are going. Yeah. This is going to be a very interesting topic, and we want to hear from you. We love your input. We also, any questions you may have as we dig into our topic. But before we go into our topic, we just really want to say, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel that you can get the notifications in advance, and you'll know when we're going live, whether it's with Popcorn Conversation or other opportunities that we're going live. And so we want to put that out in the atmosphere first. And then we're going to be telling you about some other things along the way. We'll be sharing a little bit. We're going to hold off on that because we'll have a special guest that's going to join us, and we can jump into some things that we'd like to share with you.
I know. And we just want to say thank you all for all of the love that we received, because we just celebrated our 34th wedding anniversary. June 29th, this past Sunday, and we just got loads of just love through calls, texts, on social media, all of that. So thank you all for what you all did. It means a lot that we're 34 years strong, and we're even going stronger. Right?
And that's one of the reasons why we're doing Popcorn Conversation and other avenues of getting in touch with each other in the space that we're in this marriage space. And we just want to drop all the seeds and nuggets that we can, because we never know whose life we will touch and how we can help others grow.
That's wonderful. So if you all notice, we only have one of our co-hosts with us tonight, which is great. We are excited about having them on, and you all know them. They are regulars at this point, and they add so much value to our conversations. So we just want to welcome to the show our co-host, none other than Pastors Alvin and Victoria Parker. What's up, our family?
Hello.
What's up, good people?
What's up?
Good.
Y'all look, and Victoria, I have to say, you look amazing.
She look good, though.
Oh my God.
She
looks so good. So you all again add so much value to what we're doing with these popcorn conversations, and thank you all for just being diligent, consistent, and wanting to be a part of these conversations. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's get into it. I mean, because it's getting close to something that a lot of people are celebrating, and that is the 4th of July, where there's going to be a lot of sparks going, and there's going to be a lot of fireworks. And fireworks can be beautiful, but they also can be scary. Okay, because of the loud booms and just the setup, and you don't know where those sparks are going to fly. It's kind of like popcorn conversation sometimes. They don't know where those sparks are going to fly. So tonight we are going to be talking about sparks, fireworks, and sacred spaces. How to save your marriage together, not individually, but together. And we want to drop some nuggets with you all. And this became really clear to me. I was at a conference. It was an entrepreneur conference recently. And I consistently would walk up and talk with people, couples particularly, who are in business together. And while attending that conference, I would run into them, and that there was this common thread out that they felt misaligned. They felt like their businesses were taking over their personal lives. And one of the things that we wanted to do is just kind of spend some time talking about how we can get in a line, even if you're in ministry or business. And this is great because Pastors Alvin and Victoria, they are pastors in their church, so they're doing ministry and they're leading. We would love to hear some of the tools, some of the resources. How have you handled some of these things? So we're going to ask some questions to you, Alvin and Victoria, and just hopefully you can drop some nuggets with our listeners. Okay. So how do you create the sparks and keep it lit while you're doing ministry together?
Let's talk about
Why you doing ministry together? Do you want to lead?
Well, I think the first thing that I would say is, you have to learn to take time away from what you're called to do. Because even though we're called to be in ministry, we have a ministry to each other as well. And so we have to be intentional about spending time with each other. Something as simple as we do spring break, summer break, fall break, where we shut the church down for the week. That way everybody else can do whatever, but we go and we get relaxation. We do the things that, we need to do to keep ourselves aligned and on the same page. And so some people just think they got to just keep going. And you have to take time to have vacations yourself, and do what you need to do to kind of keep the marriage where the marriage needs to be. And in the beginning, we just went. And then there was a point where we said, you know what, we got to stop and we got to take time, just like everybody else takes vacation and goes off and do whatever they need to do. We need to do the same thing. And we don't necessarily have to try to figure out all these people that need to cover spaces while we're out. It's like, you know what? We can just do some on vacation. We can have a vacation all this week. See y'all on Sunday. Wednesday night, no nothing. All week, we see y'all on Sunday. Take that time for each other and spend that time to, like you said, keep those sparks out. So that's one of the things that we do to try to make sure that we stay aligned and that we stay fresh.
And I would add two things to that. One, set boundaries. So particularly for us in ministry, and you could do it with business as well, the church understands I'm not married to them. I'm married to her.
Come on.
You don't come before her, because if home is messed up, I don't know why you would want to follow me if home is messed up anyway as a pastor. But the church understands that Pastor Victoria comes first, because if I can't take care of my own house, how can I take care of the church of God? But we set those boundaries, and people can do that with business as well. You have to set boundaries to say, okay, the business is a role you fulfill, is something you do. It helps the household, but it's not your life.
Yes.
Follow what I'm saying? It's not the life you're building is with your spouse. That comes first. And then the other one is constant communication, because if the only way I believe that you could sense you feel like you're misaligned is there's unclear expectations or unreasonable expectations. Why they're there? Because you haven't communicated them, or you've forgotten the expectations or the boundaries. And why did you forget them? You're not constantly communicating. So that big word, communication, keeps coming back up in every aspect. You have to constantly talk about it and have discussions. You have weekly management meetings. You have consistent management meetings with business.
Check-in meetings with your staff.
Check why you can't do the same thing with your family, with your spouse. Hey, how are we doing on this? What are we doing this? Just constant communication.
Wow. I think you said some powerful things here, especially about, setting boundaries. I would love to know a little bit about when in the experience you have when boundaries have crossed, how did you determine what boundaries you were going to set?
I want to say I would think the only time there was an attempt to cross a boundary because my husband stopped it in his tracks, and it was when he was an associate pastor at another church.
Oh yeah.
And he was having a conversation with the pastor, and the pastor crossed the line in something he was communicating, and my husband said, "Well, stop right there. We're not doing that." That's my wife, and we're not doing that. And so he had to like shift that and let that person understand, you know, I'm here, we can work, we can do whatever, but you're crossing the line when it comes to my spouse, and we're not doing that. And this is why we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the only time where somebody really crossed the boundary, because we try to be very transparent to the people that we lead and set the expectations up front. You know, even when new people come and they join the church, we have a new members class, and we let them know what to expect from us, and we tell them what we expect from them. And so and then the people in the church know, and so they know. Big girl, we don't do that around here. We don't do that
around here.
We have to get to you because the people in the church already know and they already understand. Yeah. And so we've not had that was probably the only time we ever had someone attempt to cross a boundary, but he stopped them in their tracks.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you all are in ministry together. There are people that are in business together and walking through this. And another perspective that you can look at is that one of the persons could be in their own business and the partner could be supporting them. And I think that's just as important too, because you do hear where couples, they were like, well, that's your thing.
Oh no,
that's what you do.
Yeah.
And so whatever you want to do, you're fine there. And I'm just thinking, when we're one flesh, their thing is my thing.
Right.
And we're doing it together. So even if you all were doing the church, if Alvin, if you were the pastor, you would not want Victoria to say, well, that's your thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
That's your thing. You go ahead and do you, and I'll do me, and we'll be good.
Yes.
Right. So I just want, just for that, I love, because I know that Catherine, we're in that state now. Right. Catherine we have our business, but she works it full time. And we do it together. So not only am I supporting her, but I'm also in the grind as well.
Yes, absolutely.
That flow.
Yes.
And we have to, I'm glad what you said, we have to set boundaries ourselves.
Absolutely.
Because at some point, it's like it never stops. Working the business just never stops. We wake up talking about it. We were going to bed talking about it. We were talking about it over lunch. We talk about it when we're going shopping. What can we do? You know, we're celebrating and we're talking about it. It's like,
yes,
let's make sure that we come before the business.
Because I'm glad you said that, because I've been speaking with several couples who had said that they would love for their spouse to be involved, but they were saying that the spouse was just saying that that's their business. And as I was talking to them, which is very important and crucial for couples to come together and understand what that business is, so that you can support one another, as Carlos said. And as I was talking with this particular individual, I was saying, so it warrants for a conversation. Because if you do not get aligned, then you will begin to get out of rhythm, and then you'll be down this road, and then your spouse or significant other will be down another road, and then all of a sudden you'll be saying, we just grew apart. When you make them become a part of the business, sometimes they don't know how to support or what does that looks like. What does that look like? And we think it's important that you discover what that is. So we just jump in the business and not even have those conversations. You all said it before. Constant communication.
Constant communication.
Right. Constant. That means ongoing.
You know, Catherine, when you were saying that a minute ago, it made me wonder for people that have this thought process. Well, that's your thing. How did you go into this business? Did you go into this business, even though you're married, you were just kind of doing your thing and not really, that spouse wasn't involved in the whole process.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like two people that are single and both of them got a house and then they get married. And then we got to decide who house we're going to sell. So we sell my house and we go live in your house. But that's what you keep calling it, his house.
Yes.
You keep calling it his house.
Not our house.
Right. It's not our house. It's his house.
Yes.
I sold my house. It's his house.
No,
well, the same thing with the business.
Right.
You can't go into it just like, this is what I want to do and putting a label on it. It's like, when you decide I'm going to do, this is something I want to pursue, then you guys come together and you do that pursuit together. They need to be included on the front end. That's how you keep it from being, that's your thing. Because
go ahead.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I was just saying, I'm with you on that, Victoria, because if you establish what your roles are going to be in the business.
Yeah.
What role am I playing?
Right.
Now, am I coach? Am I business developer? Am I back-end operations? Am I the spokesperson with you when we go out? What is that? So that we can make sure that we are all aligned. So for us in our business, she does an amazing job at the back-end operations. I mean, she'll be having them. Hey, if anybody's on our email list, y'all know y'all get those emails out. She be killing it. And then when we're signing people up to do like the Master for Marriage experience and all that, she's so good about just making sure that operations is together. Now, for me, I like to see some people. I want to touch some people. I'm going to say, hey, you need to come on, get in this class. This will be good for you. Right. This is what you're going to learn from it. So I love the whole business development side of it. Right. Getting people, or establishing the agreements or the contracts that we have, because we are working now with two organizations that have contracted us out, and then there's maybe 3 more organizations too that are looking to do some business with us as well. So I love that business development side of it to make it happen, but we are aligning ourselves with that.
And we have clear expectations of each other. And I'm not saying that we have not had that we weren't unaligned at some point when we realized when we were going like my husband who's out front and yes, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. Yes.
And you're like, hold on, bro, man, you hadn't checked the calendar.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Calendar.
Can I talk about 2 biblical principles that really make this work, what y'all talking about? 2 that come to mind, because we both do help each other in different roles. Number 1, Ephesians 5:21 says, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. That's your support role. And the other one I think about is, I keep going back to, is 1 Corinthians 13:4-8. Those are the guiding principles in everything we do for one another. And when you read it from the Amplified, it said, love does not insist on its own way, and love is ever ready to believe the best of every person. Now, let me show you how that works practically, because I love it. Because Pastor Victoria, she works in a secular setting. I'm the one that's full-time. And she has a very demanding role in her job, in leadership role. And so I just don't, when she talks about the things that she has to do, I don't put ministry above what she has to do in that realm. Right. My full support and prayer and encouragement and cheerleading and what she does, just as much as I get support from her over in this role. And at the same time, she don't give her best to the job, and then when it comes to church, say, this is ministry.
I'm tired. I've been working all day. I ain't got time to do all that.
It's really both of us recognizing the anointings and the giftings that God put in both of us, and we lean on that in different aspects. There are times she's speaking into me about certain things, using that administrative anointing that she has on her life has helped me tremendously in thinking through things. And then there are things I'll see from a biblical perspective that I say, sweetie, that's God right there. Helping her recognize that anointing working on her in a practical situation. So it's that having that heart that God puts in you, and that love and submitting to one another and celebrating each other's giftings that God helps you recognize and say, I want to speak to that. I want to support that. I want to encourage that. Because really, you don't separate who you are from what you do. Who you are and who God made you to be and how He gifted you is what helps you fulfill the role that you So there's no separation from it in that sense.
So Alba, you talked about Ephesians 5:21, and you also said 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8.
From the Amplified Classic. It talks about how love motivates people to the love of God in us motivates us. And I didn't used to think that way. She didn't used to think that way, but being a part of a local church and the pastor teaching us and feeding on the word, it began to change how we thought towards one another and how we helped one another. We didn't always think like this. Someone had to teach us how to fulfill these roles. And that once you understand your roles in the marriage, and I know our modern day culture don't like roles, but that's why a lot of people marriages fall apart, because no roles are defined.
No roles are defined. You're exactly right.
You can't have the linebacker standing behind the quarterback and think the offense going to work in football.
Exactly.
That ain't his role.
You can't have
football analogy.
You can't have 2 point guards out there trying to handle the ball. Everybody's like, no. You cannot do that.
You can't do that. So if you define the roles, and I remember one time she got a revelation of, I got a pool of anointings to help my husband. And I tell you, Carlos, there were times I'm just being transparent. She would say things like, I'm a visionary. I see things conceptually. Once I get a concept of something, I can see how the whole thing lays out. And in the beginning, she would ask me a million questions. And I really started to get offended and really irritated, because I took it as she didn't believe in me.
Okay.
I said, dumb, she's asking you questions because she's trying to fill in the blanks and help you fulfill what you said you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I had to change my perspective because I realized you know the details.
Yeah.
I can see the big picture. You can fill in the details. So now I just tell her what God is putting on my heart and conceptually where that is. And she begins to
rally the troops
and I
give the details and start putting into place.
So I lean heavily on that.
I'm asking the question. I'm trying to help put into place what you see.
Yeah.
I love that.
Clearer. Whereas before I was like, why are you asking me all these questions? I'm excited, ready to go, but not realizing it's like this
you
body.
You need some boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Where them fans at?
Hey.
I'm trying to put the boots on the ground and get it going.
Right. Yes.
Listen, we do have someone backstage that we're going to be bringing in, and I think they can add value as well to this discussion, especially being in business. And how you just talked about supporting and not looking at, you were thinking of getting offended, but when you transform your mindset, you change your mindset, then you started to see different, that she's adding value to where you need to go, where the maintenance. So, I mean, that's amazing. And that's what we want other couples to see, is that you are in this thing together. You should be building one another up, trusting one another. But before I get into my preaching zone,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that you had talked about alignment, making sure that we're in alignment. And I agree with that on the alignment piece. And that's what we did with the Master for Marriage experience, is that we had couples go through that so that they can align themselves with their vision, mission, their values, and their brand. And it's made a tremendous difference. So that couple that's coming on actually went through the Master for Marriage experience, and we want them to share their experience with us. Right?
Yes.
You had something else.
I would love for them to share. I'm gonna bring them on, and as they are coming on, I did want to give you a stat that I had looked up, and it said the Small Business Administration reports that among family-owned businesses, about 35% are run by husband and wife teams.
That's awesome.
So you got to work. It's in the numbers. So you got to work together. All right. Woo! Who do we have joining us, Carlos? What?
Scott? Kara?
What's happening?
Oh God,
what's going on, good people? How we doing?
Oh my God, it's so good to see you all.
Yes.
So Scott and Kara, meet Pastors Alvin and Victoria Parker.
Hello, Scott and Kara.
What's going on, Miss and Mrs. Parker? How are y'all doing?
Doing well. Nice to meet you.
That's what I'm talking about. Nice to meet you as well.
Scott and Kara actually are in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. So we're so excited that they are part of our community, and they actually went through the Master for Marriage experience. It's probably been now 8 months, you think?
About 8 months.
It was
Absolutely.
late fall last year, right?
That is correct.
Wow.
Y'all got y'all certificate in the Master for Marriage.
It definitely was an awesome class. No,
because I didn't know you never know what you're going to get when you go through the class, right? And so I'm glad you all signed up to go through it. We were talking about couples being in business together and being aligned. And we would love for you all to kind of share your perspectives on, if you're working business together, how do you guys make it work? And then how has the Master for Marriage experience helped you all stay aligned with one another?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I just wanted to say, Carlos and Catherine and Mr. and Miss Parker, I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to go through the program that Carlos and Catherine that they put on, but it was so well thought out from start to finish. And they just made they made the environment so friendly, so people can really, do some of the exercises and take the deep dives to really provide that feedback and insight on their lives. So they can make some transformations and some change, but not only just change that wouldn't last, but the main thing is making change that you can stay consistent on. And that's one thing that, Kara and I, when we entered the class, we just wanted to make sure, hey, whatever we say we're going to do, let's just make sure that we have the ability to stick to some of these ground rules. So, really just shout out to Carlos and Catherine for just making sure that the class was just well ran from top to bottom. But then when it's now getting into the business, so Kara and I, we have a few properties that we manage in Charlotte, North Carolina, and also in Atlanta, Georgia. And really, I would say, kudos to Kara for just jumping in and just, having the mindset of, how can I help? How can I support? Before I met Kara, I was doing it by myself. And so some of the things, two minds together working together are better than one. And so just having somebody to see something from a different point of view, a different lens, offer some insight, offer support is extremely helpful when you're in business. And then not only is she so insightful, it's just following up with all the other our tenants that stay there, and also the maintenance crews that come through, making sure that the bills get paid. I mean, you guys understand that managing a few properties is really involved. And I think, Kara has taken a leadership role in a lot of those things, and she's killing it. So I definitely see us being able to expand and keep acquiring, but I do want to stress the importance of our alignment, right? And how that masterful marriage class aligned is, making sure that we said that, hey, we're going to trust each other. That was one of our principles, right? We're going to make sure that we respect each other. That's always good for business and in our principles. And then we also say we're going to lead by example. So the best way to, to do something and show someone the right path is for you to do it and see it through. And when we bounce things off of each other and we walk things from top to bottom, I think it makes for us a successful business relationship as well. You think so, babe?
I think so.
So I know I gave you a lot, Carlos. She gave me like 3 questions, so I tried to touch base on all of them. But
no, that's good.
Keep us rolling, man.
No, I would love to hear from Kara as well. Just your perspective on just how you all have aligned your business and working together, and what the Master for Marriage experience did for you.
Yes, so just echoing everything Scott said, it did set some principles for our vision moving forward, just making sure that we follow our mission and our vision, and making sure that the actions that we take daily lead us to completing that mission and that vision, making sure, like you said, respecting each other, because our business relationship spills over into our interpersonal relationships. So just making sure he understands where I'm coming from, I understand where he's coming from, and that we get to a common ground, and we always do. And I think we obviously use a lot of the principles that we learned in the class, that we are business and we're working on businesses. So we need to make sure we are operating like a well-oiled machine. But yeah, I think that us seeing ourselves as a business, I know the class had a couple examples like Kia, the cars. We want to be a high value car, luxury car. We don't want to just go smooth sailing. We want to make sure that we're top of the line, and we want to make sure that we exude that inside and out. And I think we learned that a lot from you guys.
Thank you for sharing that. Scott has shared something with us that you all were doing now. Something about a jar, something about can you just share a little bit about that? Which I think that's being intentional, that's making sure that you all are aligning yourselves and communicating. Share that with our audience.
Yeah, so Kara, after the class, Kara came up with an idea that it's really like a reflection jar. And so Mr. and Mrs. Parker, I don't know if you guys are, when we're going through our day-to-day, we always grinding. You always worried about the next. And so the jar is an opportunity for us to take a second and say, hey, you know what? I know you're trying to get that new deal. I know you're trying to get that property, but what are you blessed for today? And so every day, or in every other day, or just whenever you feel like, hey, you want to make, you want to make a call out, you want to say you're thankful. We got a little jar. We write a little note in it. We date it. And we put it in a jar. And one of the best things about that is, even when I'm going through a tough day, if I write something down and say the things that I'm thankful for, it really just changes my mindset. Yep. And I think sometimes, we get caught in, what we want things to be versus really respecting and taking enjoyment and being blessed to say, hey, these are how things are today. And let's acknowledge that, and let's thank God that we do have these things for today, because the way to get more is to show appreciation for what you have. And so I think I really thank Kara for aligning us on our thankful jar. And at the end of the year, we'll go through and we'll take out all the notes and read them and just see, just to have a flashback to see, hey, what were we thinking in those spots and moments? And I'm so excited that she put it in the play for us. So, and that's stemmed from the Masterful class, right? That's something about, hey, just making sure you guys are present. I think that's a great way for us to be present in the moment, and then and a way for us to be consistent, and then also a way for us to stand on the things that we set forth for each other. So, that was sweet.
Carlos, that is an actual biblical principle that they put in place.
Okay, expound on that. Yeah.
Okay. When the children of Israel, when they were crossed over Jordan, God told them to build a memorial, put those stones there. So when your children ask about this time, you see constant patterns throughout in the Bible of building memorials to remember the faithfulness of God. Then when when Moses won that battle, when they held up his hands, God told him when they defeated him, God told Moses to rehearse this victory in the ears of Joshua. Because Joshua was going to stand in his place. Then when you go to Joshua chapter 1, God talks to Joshua and says, as I was with Moses, so I'll be with you. And then he said, this book of the law, people think of it as commandments, but it's really a testimony of God's faithfulness and covenant. He said, meditate in it day and night. Don't turn from it to the right or the left, verse 7 and 8 in chapter 1, so that you prosper wherever you go. And when you meditate and observe to do all that's commanded in it, he said this, then you will make your way prosperous and have good success. So that jar that you have, every time you put in it, I said go through it every week, every day. Every day, be presented with a challenge that says you can't make it. And your mind will go there. So you take your mind back to, wait a minute, God did it before.
That jar.
Go to the jar. Go to the jar to remind you of who you are.
He going to the jar. He's like, I need to go to the jar.
He's going to get the jar.
The jar. Yeah.
That is a practical way of aligning and also just saving and protecting your space.
Yes.
You know, being present. I love that.
Hey, Scott, hold that jar up. Again.
Look, it's already full. Look at that.
That's exactly what I was saying.
And we crumble them up real small too. We crumble them up real tiny.
Look, while you doing that, just get the big jar.
Get the big jar. Get the big jar. There you go, babe. Come
go to Walmart.
The big jar.
Get the big jar.
We need a big jar. We do. We need a big jar. We
need a big jar. Yeah.
You're right. We need a big jar.
Carol, what came to your mind and your heart to say, I really want to do this jar of thankfulness or jar of gratitude, and I'm going to present it to Scott so that we can keep track of our blessings?
Yeah, so I noticed that we as humans, we have a rough day or we have a rough week and we ruminate on what's going wrong when there's blessings all around us. We have a family that loves us and cares for us. We have each other and we love and care for each other, and we love the life that we have and that we're building. But I'm thankful for my life. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful I was able to work out today. I'm thankful I have money to eat food. I'm grateful I have this shirt on my back. You know, we need to be present and be grateful for the things that we have so that we can steward the things that are to come better, because you're not going to get anything better if you can't manage what you have currently. So we just try to stay present and try to be thankful for the things that we have, because those things are blessings. And, you know, where we are right now, we're, you know, growing to, you know, move to the next step, but we're grateful to be where we are.
Hold on. You what now? Okay.
Yeah, we're growing. We're day by day. We just want to, when that day comes, we want to look back and say, you know, we dated for a while and I had these great moments with you, and I really enjoyed this day and this time, and I really enjoyed these moments. So we can look back at the jar and say, hey, I wrote on June 1st, 2025, that you and I went on a date and we had a really good time, and I'm grateful for that. So that way it's not like, oh, well, we never go on dates or we never, you know, enjoy these moments with each other. We can look back and say, oh, on these days I had a great time with you. On this day I had a great time with you. And then when we do have kids, they'll be able to look back and say, oh, my mom and dad had this going on. They had that going on. And they're grateful for this. And my grandma and my grandpa, you know, my uncles, you know, it's just a way to memorialize and keep our life present, but also keep that with us in the future.
You know, I will say this, Karen, I mean, that was, when she brought the idea to me, it wasn't even, you know what, I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. I thought it was a phenomenal idea, but this is the benefit of partnerships, not only that extend beyond into business, right? So that's what I was talking about, like Kara having a different mind, a different set of vision and ideas. That I would have never came up with this. I just wouldn't have. That's just not me. But I thought it was a phenomenal idea and something, a practice that we can take. So that's just a small sample size, or just a small example of what extends into business. And now you guys can see how, you know, when we have tenants come in, what are some of the plus ups that we can make sure that our tenants have a better stay? Or if there's certain properties that we're analyzing, what are some of the things that I may have missed that she may see? So these things extend well beyond just business and in our personal lives. So I was grateful that she came with it. And like I said, this is the first time I've ever done something like this. And it's great. It really is great.
Have you all been able to share it with other people now?
We have not shared.
Oh, you should.
We have not. We haven't shared. Right? You know what's crazy?
There is
what she writes in here, because we don't know. We've never yet looked.
But you know what? That's exactly. So the reason why I was saying you guys should get a bigger jar is because you have what you have in that jar, and not waiting to the end of the year. Like maybe get together once a month, read through them.
I say once
and
a
then
week.
Whatever
You're doing too much. You're doing too much.
But reading through that will encourage you guys in the business and the relationship. And then once you finish, take that and dump it into the big jar. And then that small jar, and then you can fill the small jar, and whatever you guys decide to, weekly, monthly, whatever you looked at, you can put it in the big jar. And then maybe at the end of the year, you can go back and reflect on that, all of those things that happen throughout the year. So I think it'll encourage you both, because you
like
don't put what's in there. It would encourage your thought process about each other, just knowing what the other person is thinking and how
I agree.
They to kind of support each other even more.
I agree. I love that.
He said about consistency and doer and how that relates to him doing. James chapter 1, 22 and 23 talks about being a doer of the word.
Yes.
Down to the 25th verse, it says he's the doer of the word is blessed in everything that he does. But how do we get to the place of doing? He gives an example of a person who doesn't do the word. And in verse 23, it says the person that is not a doer of the word is like a man who beholds his natural face in a glass, which is really a mirror, and straightway forgetteth, goes about his day and forgets what manner of man he was. So he didn't do because he forgot. So if we remember, then what we could do? We could do. Now you take that over to Habakkuk that says, people talk about write the vision and make it plain. But you know, he waited on the Lord to get that vision to write.
He did. Yes, he did.
He went up on the wall to see what God would say to him.
He didn't write his own vision.
He didn't write his own vision.
My vision.
Exactly. That part right there.
But here's the key to him being consistent. He said, write it for what reason? So that he that reads it
can run with it.
So I can only run to the degree that I read.
Oh, y'all getting busy today. Y'all getting busy today.
You started it, Scott. You
started it. Don't know. If I constantly read, I can constantly run.
Yes,
so that's why I say read it often so you don't forget it. So it's in the forefront of your thinking so that you can read it. When she was helping me with my time management skills, and she would have me write stuff down, but I wouldn't read it. So I so I had a system that helped me look at it.
Right.
So I read it better when it's on a computer or on a gadget because I like gadgets. So I don't write it in a Franklin Covey. I put it on my iPhone because I know I'll read it then.
That's right.
That's the example of what he's saying. We want to be consistent. We want.
I'm glad you said that one. That is, you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. You also said this is really good. I also says that those without a vision the people. If you don't have a vision, the people will perish.
They'll perish.
So we've got so many people out here that are not living vision, don't have mission, are not thankful, not grateful. So with us, we do have our 6 core areas that we actually go through every month, but we also are praying every day for our daily bread. Like, Lord, how are you going to bless us today? What is that daily bread? It may not always be financial. It could be other ways that he's given us our daily bread. But I think Scott and Kara is encouraging us to take it to the next level, because I'm like, I need to be documenting that daily bread and what I'm thankful for, and putting it in a jar, so that when I do get discouraged, or when we want to show how good our lives have been because of who God is, then we can bring that out, and we would encourage it. So, Scott and Carol, we probably gonna be stealing that, and not only stealing it for ourselves, but for other couples that we actually do life with, or that go through the Match for Marriage experience and other things that we do, because that's such a great resource.
Catherine, what about those little cars you got?
That's exactly what I was going to say on one. That's wonderful that you brought that up, because I believe that's part of, just like you have the jar, we have resources and product that God has gifted us to lay the foundation and leave them out. And so we use that in our Power Couples Rock game with the 6 core areas. It's like something visible and tangible that we can share with others that has inspired us, and we can see that through God's hand, what he's given us. And that's what a lot of the other products that we do, that is our stone that he has placed out, and for us to be able to share. I love, there was something I was going to say about, you all being intentional about doing this. And that's one of the things in the Masterful Marriage experience is, we talk about writing a vision and making it plain so that others can run with it. You read it. They say their vision to everybody in the community every time. Sometimes they get a little bit embarrassed because they're like, I don't know it yet. I'm like, we working on that. That's what we're getting you to. That's what. We fine-tuning it so that, and I love what you all said, Victoria, it's God's vision. That's why we don't tell you to write it right then and there. You both have to work through it and let us see it. And so we start refining it, and then it becomes part of your DNA, and you're able to say that, so that when something comes your way that does not align with your vision, you would know when to say, that ain't it. That's not for us. That's not aligning to what God has given us in our vision and our mission in our marriage. We focus on having a marriage vision and mission, values, and whatever your brand is. So,
and I just want to say with Scott and Kara, they are just so far ahead of the game, because they've already established their vision, their mission, their values, their brand. They're working together. They're just really established, preparing them there. The jar of thankfulness. They're putting so much in place that's really leading toward not only a masterful marriage, but a long, everlasting marriage, and a marriage that is an example for other people, and not just other people that are younger. Other people that are older as well. Absolutely. We talk about marriage is not just for the couple. It is for all of those who really need to see great marriages are in progress and that are prospering and that are flourishing. And I'm just so grateful for Scott and Kara for setting the example. If we would have had that, I mean, we're doing good now. If we would have had that before we got married, oh my God.
I encourage them in something.
What did you say?
Please.
Man, I encourage them in something about, because that is one more thing that came up about the jar. You'll face challenges, and you made the statement that sometimes people say we just grew apart. And I would say, no, you didn't remember right. And what you just created.
Wow.
2 Corinthians 10, 4 and 5 talks about how things come against their mind. That's where the devil comes. And he loves to make couples think, you don't love me like you used to. You don't love me like you used to. You don't pay attention to me like you used to. What is that? That's a theory. That's a reasoning. That's an argument. And you have to cast those down with other words.
Yes.
So when things come against your mind that you feel, sometimes people just feel indifferent. That's coming against the mind. You could go to that jar and say, no, he do love me because on this day.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, he do love me.
That's it.
I remember when.
Yes.
Kind of like Michael Jackson. I remember the time.
Yo, you sharp, man. You sharp.
Yeah, so you know those things. That's how you keep your marriage together. And
yes,
off reasoning that will cause you to think, because the devil loves to make people think they married the wrong one when they actually have the right one. Right. They just didn't renew their mind to what they have in front of them.
And everybody's not thinking like this.
No, we didn't think like that.
Everybody's not having this conversation.
That's why we trying to help people. We're trying to drop the seed.
Come on, Kara. What did y'all think, Kara? I want to hear from.
Before you speak, I want to. You said we didn't grow apart. You said something, and I was trying to.
We just didn't remember.
We just
didn't remember right.
You didn't remember right.
Right. Some people remember wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked. We talked some, but Kara, Scott, what's going on in y'all's minds and y'all heart right now as we're just pouring our blessings on y'all because y'all are killing it?
Oh, man. I mean, well, look, all the information and gems that y'all have shared upon us, we putting it into action. That's really how, you know, Carlos, I've been blessed to know you for, you know, over almost a decade now. And one of the things that Carlos knows about me is, hey, to really win, it's important to listen. And sometimes if somebody says, hey, young buck, don't walk through that door over there. That you don't want to walk through that door. Yeah. I've learned to be like, you know what? I'll take your advice. I won't walk through that door. So when you guys today are giving us this knowledge to help benefit us and our business, it's the same analogy. Hey, we're going to listen and we're going to put a lot of this into practice. We're going to go grab a bigger jar. I think it's a great idea for us to stay more connected. It's a great idea to stay more connected, you know, every month. Like, how were you feeling this month? Or just a check-in, or man, I didn't realize that you were going through that, because till this day, you ain't looked in that jar, have you?
No.
All right. But I mean, we have a jar. We really don't. It's a nice checkpoint. And just like in business, you won't go the entire year and then look at your financials and be like, "Yo, we didn't make any money."
Right.
Yes. Like, yo, the business is failing. You be like, "Oh, yo, we have a quarterly review." So I think that this is a great way for us to, like some of the things that y'all shed on us. I mean, we just thankful that y'all were willing to just, you know, encourage some young folks. That's really what I mean. We blessed that y'all willing to share some wisdom, some insight, some support, because you guys know we dealing in an environment that's chaotic, and in an environment where you hear a lot of different noises. It's a lot of different opinions, those that do not come from yourself. And so it's good to be around folks that are rooted in proper reason and want young folks to think and grow to be better.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for sharing that. I just want to say that.
I
don't know.
Go ahead, baby.
Y'all say something, Karen. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's just to echo. you said something. No, it's good to hear from people who are in happy, prosperous, loving marriages. That's what we aspire to be in. And you know, it's a lot of critics with no credentials, and we don't want those opinions. We want information from people who are doing and are where we aspire to be. And we can take the knowledge that you all have imparted upon us and apply that in our relationship and our business relationship.
So Carlos,
I love the fact that you guys are sharing and that you're spending the time to learn. I just want to encourage you, because you're wanting to build things together. Don't take too long. Make the connection.
Yes.
Make the biblical connection. Don't take too long. Go ahead and do it. You put the things into practice, but you need to put it in practice the way
practice.
And practice the practice. Because there's a level of prosperity and there's a level of things that will come to you guys because you're on the same page. But man, when you connect spiritually the way God intends to do, what you're doing now is going to catapult once y'all get married.
Want to put 1,000
It's
to
going
flight?
to catapult.
Come on.
Who will put? Listen to this part. One will put 1,000 to flight. Two will put
10,000.
That's tenfold.
Tenfold, baby. Well, you got two up in there.
Yep.
That's exponential pace.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's what we need too.
It does.
Yeah.
You don't need to wait till you can get it together. You're going to get it together now.
You already have the right mindset. You already have the right mindset. And can I give you a piece of encouragement?
Keep coming.
We all had to learn how to be married. We didn't know how to do it when we started.
Hey, we still learning.
We're good company.
Yeah.
We all had to learn how. So keep yourself in an environment where you can learn. And as long as you're willing to say, this is our saying, is me and you against the world. The word of God settles all indifferences, and divorce is not an option.
Come on now.
That's
the Parker vision right there. We're doing, what's the plan of God? What's your 10-year plan? Hearing the voice of God and doing whatever he tells us to do.
That's it. Bam.
Because his will is his bill.
I think on that. Listen, you got lifelong learning, not just in your business, but in your marriage. Constantly learning about how to grow your relationship and keep the sparks flying in a good way. Sparkle, like he still walks in the room and I still get, a little sparkly.
He's still making me laugh. I 28 years of marriage in September. He still make me laugh. We still cutting up laughing.
Yes.
That's great.
I want to remind our viewers to go out and subscribe. I also want to remind our viewers of some of the things that we had said on here about when you're doing business and ministry and you're in leadership together. In order to keep that alignment, make sure you set boundaries. Make sure you constantly stay in contact with one another, because that's some of the things. And understand your expectations and make them very clear and be intentional about that. We're trying to help you in this space and make sure you get a part of a community, because we do life with these people in so many ways. Even though Scott and Kara was in the Master of Marriage experience, they're not on an island by themselves. There was a group of people in there who were working towards this common cause, and that is to have a Master of Marriage by aligning the vision, mission, values, and branding. And then now they can't get rid of us because they're part of our community.
Exactly. They can't get rid of us. All right.
We wouldn't want to get rid of y'all neither. Y'all are great. And Carlos and Catherine, if you could be so nice to when we finish up to share Mr. and Mrs. Parker's information with us, that'd be great. Just so we can stay connected.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to close up, because I know we've been talking, but it's been such rich conversation. We do just want to promote that on July 17th. We are actually going to be doing the 7 keys to a master for marriage. It's an hour and a half overview of this formula that we've been inspired to actually share with couples for an hour and a half for $57. You can go and click on the QR code there or go to Power Couples Rock to take a look at it. We'd love for you to be a part of it. We are actually reserving it just for a small group of couples, 5 to 10 couples, and that's it. Just because we just want to make sure that people get the attention that they need in that space.
Yes.
And again, that's on July 17th at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock p.m.
Eastern
Standard Time, virtual.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
I think we did it.
Oh, we did that thing. And you know what? What do we got to do?
What do we got to do, y'all? We got to get
power.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Thank y'all for having us on. Anytime.
Yes. Popcorn Conversation every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Go out and subscribe.
All right. Peace.